Hi, today I want to show you how you can create TIniFiles for your Pascal application with Lazarus and Free Pascal. So let's start with a new project and let's create an application. To show how you can create an ini file and how you can store properties into it, I will create a very simple application with a few edit boxes, and this will be representing some of the properties we want to save, and then we will only use two buttons, and we create two buttons here. One will be the save button, and one will be the load button. Okay, so then what we need to do is if you want to use the TIniFile capabilities, you need to add the TIniFiles unit to your application. Once you have added the TIniFiles unit to your application, you need to create a variable to keep the handle of the TIniFile itself. And let's use it like this. So we will have, sorry, we need to add the variable. The prop variable will contain the TIniFile let's say handle for the file itself. So now let's initialize the prop variable, and this will be initialized with the create constructor. So let's use the file name, and if we are not writing any folder or directory in front of the file name itself, just simply use the file name, then this will be written into the application directory. And then we need to add options, which we call true. And then before with the handle, the file would be created physically, you need to write something into it. If you are not writing anything into the file, then nothing will be created. So you need to go to the button function where we will save the variable, and then here we start to write the one string into the file, and for that we can use two things: the section and the identifier. So the section will be separating the variables from each other. So if you have several sections and you might have similar identifications within a section, or within two sections, then you can use the same identification, but you need to separate it with a section name. Otherwise, if you write with the same identification into the file, then the variable will be overwritten with the value. So here, let's say we create a sample section, and we will use the edit one as the identification for the variable, and we will write here the edit text as the property variable or property value itself into the file. So let's run the application, and once it is running and we press the save button, then the property file should be written. And if we go here into the into the application directory, we can see the prop ini file which we created, and then we can check the content. And as you can see, the sample section is created, and also the edit1 variable is containing the edit1 value. Okay, so let's stop the application and let's add another section here, another variable. Of course, you can add boolean or any other type of variable which is basically um, uh, defined under the object itself. So you can see that that you can read complete sections, erase sections, delete keys. So you have many possibilities here. And if we go to the right section, then you can see that we can write a boolean variable, a date variable, date time, float variable, integer, time variable, and so on. So basically, you can use this object as you need. You don't need to rely just on string variables. But for this example, I was just using, or I will just use this. So let's say this will be the second section, identifier, and let's call it edit1 again, just to show that that we can use the same variable name into it. And also let's write to the second section again, but here we should use now the edit3 because we cannot use the same one. And then this will be the edit3 text. Okay, so let's run the application again. Let's save the file and let's check the file again. And then you can see that we have the two sections here, edit1, edit1, edit3, and then all the values are written here. So then if you want to load, of course you need to do the same thing. So you just need to create the procedure for it, and then we should put into edit1 text. We should put the prop read string, and then we need to put here the section, edit1 section, and we also need to add the edit1 as an identifier. Oh, sorry. This will be the sample, edit1. And here we can define a standard variable. So if this let's say property variable would not be defined previously, or it's not in the ini file itself, then we can define a default value. So this we can say default whatever, and let's copy the same for the other two. And let's just change the one. So this will be the second, edit1, okay, and then edit3 will be second and edit3. Okay, so let's run again the application, and now let's delete the values just to see how the load is loading the function, and you can see that we basically loaded the thing what was inside the file. So let's change these to 1, 2, 3. Save it. Let's restart the application, because then we can see that now we have the saved values. So this is how you can define the TIniFiles, and how you can load the variables from it. Actually, you can also use it for any other purposes, not necessarily just for TIniFiles, but you can use it for your applications to store data. But as you can see that the data storage is a very simple solution. So if you don't want to have, let's say, these files to be hacked maybe by other users, or to see the contents, or manually change it inside the file and load it maybe into your application, then of course you might need to have a safer solution. But for basic purposes, this TIniFile object itself is working very nicely, and you can really use it for storing file locations, for example, to initiate your application, or if you want to define, for example, SQL data files, and you want to store them at different locations, then you can be able to define, where you want to to have this file. And actually you can use even a file tree object to locate the location of the file in the on your storage. And then you can load it into your application, and you can store it into the TIniFile. So basically there are many possibilities to use this object. This was one of the solutions, let's say. So of course you can basically define your own way how you want to use the object. So that was for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and let's come back for the next one.